Hey there, it is Tomster on the behalf of Indie Structural Productions once again. Now, I'm going to start off this episode by saying that due to time constraints, and I'm actually going to pause the video here, due to time constraints and a very hectic schedule, I was not able to finish the animations for this video. I'm sure that we can make do this one time, and I'm very sorry. But, oh god, my phone. It is what it is, and I apologize, but let's try and make this video just a little bit better in other ways then, alright? Cool. So, continuing onward. So, now we're at the so-called meat of the matter. After long discussions and going through different woods that I found, and speaking with the client in mind, we resorted to doing meranti for the wings of the guitar. Now the reason for this is just to get a little bit more warmth out of the woods that we're currently using, because to be honest, we're using maple and beech and bubinga, all of which are very, high density woods, very tough, very strong, but also extremely bright. So the meranti should bring some of that warmth back. Now, I'm not gonna go too much into the whole quote-unquote tone wood stuff here, because oh boy, that's just gonna start a whole different sort of open up a whole can of worms, so to speak. So I'm not going to go there. Anyway, so of course, because this is a neck-thru, I have to get the body into two different chunks for the wings. Now, this was a leftover piece from meranti that was... the dimensions were not right to be able to be used for Crimson Guitar's production stuff, so I ran by Tom and Jamie and everybody just to make sure that I was able to actually use these pieces. It was all well and good because there was no use found for them, so yay. Now with everything, well, not everything, but so basically I go ahead and, as per usual when going through the whole processing wood type thing, first I flatten one side, and then I use that flattened side up against the fence on the planer thicknesser to get a square edge. This allows me to have a good base on which to work from and make sure that when I thickness everything square. And of course in this case as well, because these chunks are way too thick, I decided I'm going to cut a few slices out for backplates. Basically, the first slice I'm cutting through, this is the same sort of theory as in, book matching. But what I'm doing is I'm cutting off a slice off of one of the blocks so that I can use that as a backplate for the guitar. I thought it would be a really cool idea, because then I would have the same grain pattern on the back of the guitar, because it's made from the same chunk of wood. And then all the leftover stuff I would give to the production team to use as backplates for production models. Once again, I'm going very slowly because I don't want the blade to wander. I'm not in a rush. Slow and steady, and the blade goes straight, exactly where you want it to. Fortunately, meranti as well, fairly easy wood to work with, so the blade cuts like butter. Even though I think this was still a bit of a dull blade, as you can see from the burn marks. So on to thicknessing everything. It's all very straightforward. Basically, we've seen this same process in the start of the series because, well, when it comes to processing wood, there isn't really, much difference. It's just the dimensions to which you process them into. I am working these blocks down to 45 mil to start with. I think the end product ended up being 43 mil in thickness. And the backplate material I'm working down to, I want to say 4 mil eventually. 4 mil. God, I love this felder. It's so good. So, this is just trying to mark out where I want those wings to go. Basically, once again, just a lot of drawing, trying to figure out the body shape, trying to figure out where I want everything to go. There was a little bit of a, well, quote-unquote slip-up where I didn't have a long enough piece. So if you can see, there's this little sliver of meranti on the left side there, just to get that little bit more out of the wings. Now, the reason I'm marking across like this is for my next little trick. Basically, I want, this isn't necessary. I mean, you can easily go ahead and just glue them on as is. But first off, very important, is planing a very smooth and square edge to your blocks. This ensures that your gluing surface is the best it can be and that there are no gaps. But essentially what I'm going to do is use some dowels, drill some holes, and use some dowels to make sure that the wings sit in their correct places. Because I don't want them to move, especially considering the fact that I have minimal space to work with. This is just checking that I don't see any gaps. The glue joint seemed good. Now the same thing with the neck, because every single gluing surface needs to get the same treatment. It needs to be as good as it can be. Little tricky there for some reason. Meranti was very easy to plane. The maple is giving me some issues, clearly. Of course, the sharper your plane is, the easier this is. I don't think my plane was as sharp as it could have been. Everything seems good. Rechecking my lines, that they are where I want them to be. Everything looks good. Moving onwards. The thing is that if during this hand planing portion, if you were to make the edge not square, as in you would put an angle onto the edge, very easy just to go back onto the planer and square that off and then do it again. Essentially, in the best case scenario, you would only need to use the hand plane once or twice to go over the block. It shouldn't take too much to get a really good surface onto it. And once again, checking that there are no gaps and that the joint is as good as I can make it. Now, of course, I need to transfer those lines onto the side I'm going to drill on. So using a square, transfer those markings over. And once I've done that, I do need to mark the center line as well? Well, I do this same process on every piece because I am going to be drilling a hole on every piece. Over here. Wonderful. Is that every piece now? Nope. So this is the middle block, just to give me that extra bit of length. Because the body shape is asymmetrical, the wings are offset a little bit. And that's why I had this small inch by inch gap at the bottom of the guitar, so I had to fix that up, putting in this block. They're very important to have the right size bit for your dowel. I want these to be really snug and not moving at all. So one thing that really helps is also drilling with a pillow drill instead of drilling by hand. Making sure your piece doesn't move, making sure that the bit that you're using is really sharp and really good. That's extremely important in this case. Be careful that when you're wiping dust like that you don't accidentally wipe your hand across the, spinning drill bit. Actually, you shouldn't do that in the first place if the drill bit is spinning. So, don't do as I do. Do as I say, don't do as I do. I believe that's the correct way of doing it. Now I am using the meranti block as a little bit of a guide. Not necessary if you do your markings correct, but I want it to be extra sure. And I do believe that is using the masking tape and super glue trick because it's staying on that well. And I just didn't show that part. If I'm not mistaken, I repeat the same process with all the pieces. Nope, I am mistaken. I do not repeat the same process with all. Alright, so what I've done is I've transferred the lines over onto this side, and I've also marked down the center. So that gives me the X that marks the spots and tells me exactly where to drill. There we are. And the last block to go. Now I must say at this point that usually if you're doing a neck-thru, you really do want to get the wings as close to the final shape as possible. It helps a lot in the long run. I don't do that, but yeah, I'm a fool for doing so. It's not the end of the world. It just, makes your life that much easier if you do that. So now cutting up some dowel. Just to make sure that everything lines up as they should. There we are. Just like putting together some IKEA furniture, isn't it? No, it really isn't the same. So there's a little bit of a wobble, but I'll be able to, fix that up when when everything gets glued up and clamped in place. This is very much over-engineering the entire process. You don't need to do this part at all, especially if you've planed your edges well enough. There really isn't a need to do this, but I want it to be, you know, on the safe side. Alrighty, so time to glue this baby up. Spraying the glue, same way as you would always spray the glue. Using another credit card blank type thing. No, actually I'm not. I found these little, they were like Burger King cards, like these like little plastic cards. I don't know, we had them in a drawer and they work really, really great. And putting in the dowels. Oh. There we go. First block down. Touch the neck. Aha. The neck needs glue first. Making sure that, oh, there we go. Dripping glue all over the place. Oh no, I'm making such a mess. Again, preparation is key. And too much glue is too much glue. Nah. By the looks of it, I'm putting just the right amount. You don't want to have too little, and you don't want to have too much. If you have too little, you're basically, there's not enough glue to hold everything together. Put too much, you're oversaturating your blocks, and it can be detrimental. In most cases it's not, you're just making a bigger mess. And you want to do this pretty quickly. Oh, having some trouble finding the dowels. There we go. Speeding this up a little bit, otherwise it's going to take forever. And then it's time to clamp everything up. Now this is the point where I make doubly sure that everything is going where I want them to. Making sure that there's no overlap. Everything is square, everything is straight. And then, just to make sure, I put another clamp over on top. Because there is, I'm going to pause here just real quick because the video is toward its end. A good way of doing this is having two clamps on the bottom that basically just holds everything together. Now, doing that from one side can create pressure so that it flexes the wood upward. So I'm canceling that out by putting a clamp on the top and basically eliminating any sort of bow that would happen. It's not common, but it can happen, especially if you squeeze the joint way too much, apply way too much pressure. So this eliminates that pretty well. And then with the extra piece at the end, I need another clamp. I need an F clamp in this case. I could have done with putting a little bit less glue, but hey, it works. Anywho, that was this interestingly different video this time around, and I'll be back next year in full next year. Next week, in full swing. All right. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.